This city was not meant to be loved. It was meant to be used. 19th century Birmingham did not grow from kings. It emerged from pressure, from a hunger to produce more, faster, without mercy. Smoke erased the sky. Workshops replaced monuments. Human bodies became inputs. Machines did not assist labor. They reprogrammed it. Time shattered into shifts. Rest became waste. The city synchronized to iron, not breath. When rhythm failed, Birmingham expanded. Rails tightened the system. Schedules hardened it. Through AI reconstruction, we expose it. Not how it was remembered, but how it functioned. This is not a story of progress. It is an autopsy of how a city becomes a machine, and what happens when motion is perfected. The next section descends inside the system itself, where control replaces consent and never releases it. Birmingham was not born beautiful. It was born useful. From a distance, 19th century Birmingham does not announce itself with monuments or grand avenues. It announces itself with smoke, with noise, with repetition. The skyline is not designed to impress. It is designed to work. Chimneys replace spires. Workshops crowd where gardens never existed. This is not a city that grows naturally. It is a city assembled. That distinction matters. Because Birmingham does not emerge from empire, royalty, or trade routes blessed by geography. It emerges from demand, from pressure, from the need to produce more, faster, cheaper, without pause. Iron, brass, steel, screws, locks, guns, tools. Components so small they disappear into larger machines elsewhere. Birmingham does not make finished icons. It makes everything that allows other cities to function. This is why historians called it the workshop of the world, not a metaphor, a diagnosis. By the early 1800s, production here is no longer occasional or artisanal. It is constant. Workshops multiply without coordination, yet align perfectly in purpose. Thousands of small firms, each specializing, each accelerating, each feeding an invisible system larger than any single factory. There is no central plan, and yet nothing is accidental. Labor pools densify, housing compresses, streets narrow, time tightens. This is the first illusion Birmingham creates. From the outside, it looks chaotic, dirty, improvised, but that chaos hides efficiency. What appears uncontrolled is, in fact, optimized. The city does not waste energy on beauty or symbolism. It strips itself down to function. Every square foot is evaluated. Every worker is measured. Every hour is monetized. Life is reorganized around output. And once output becomes the priority, everything else begins to bend. Population explodes not because Birmingham invites people, but because it consumes them. Rural labor flows inward. Skills are absorbed, fragmented, redeployed. The city does not ask who you are. It asks what you can do and how fast. Identity dissolves into task, community into proximity, survival into productivity. This is the true foundation of Birmingham. Not brick, not iron, but a logic. A logic that says a city exists to manufacture value, not meaning. A logic that accepts smoke as progress and exhaustion as normal. A logic so effective that it forces Britain, and eventually the world, to reorganize itself around what happens here. But there is a problem with a city built entirely on output. Once production accelerates beyond human rhythm, something must change. Muscles are no longer enough. Hands reach their limit. Time itself becomes an obstacle. And that is where Birmingham does something irreversible. It replaces human strength with something else. In the next section, we descend inside the machines, to the moment when steam, metal, and motion take control of the city's heartbeat. Birmingham did not invent the steam engine, but it was where the steam engine stopped being an invention and became a command. At first, the machines were helpers. They multiplied muscle, they reduced strain, they promised relief. A turning wheel replaced 10 hands. A piston replaced exhaustion. The logic felt humane. Progress appeared generous. Productivity rose. And with it, wages, briefly. Hope flickered. Then the rhythm changed. Steam does not tire. It does not pause. It does not negotiate. Once integrated into Birmingham's workshops, machines rewrote the city's internal clock. Work no longer followed daylight or seasons. It followed pressure, rotation, output. The factory whistle replaced the sun, time fractured into shifts. Minutes mattered more than bodies. This was the second illusion. From the outside, mechanization looks like efficiency. Inside the system, it feels like acceleration without consent. Machines demanded regularity. Regularity demanded discipline. Discipline demanded control. The city reorganized itself to feed motion, raw materials arriving precisely, parts moving continuously, labor arriving on time or not at all. Here, Birmingham crossed a threshold. Human skill stopped setting the pace. The machine did. Work was no longer defined by craft, but by compatibility. If you could synchronize with iron and steam, you were useful. If not, you were replaceable. Specialization narrowed tasks until workers no longer understood what they were making. Only the motion they repeated. Knowledge fragmented, agency thinned, productivity surged, and with it, dependency. Because once production depends on machines, the city cannot slow down. Any pause becomes loss. Any resistance becomes inefficiency. The system grows intolerant to friction, human or otherwise. Injuries are absorbed. Exhaustion is normalized. The workshop becomes a calibration chamber, tuning people to metal rather than the reverse. This is where Birmingham becomes something new. Not just a place of work, but a place of synchronization. Homes cluster near factories not for community, but for punctuality. Streets tighten to shorten transit. Housing compresses to keep labor close. The city begins to resemble its machines, dense, interlocked, optimized for throughput. Life arranges itself around motion that never asks permission. And the more seamless the system becomes, the less visible its cost. From above, production appears clean, organized, powerful. From within, it feels relentless. The machine does not hate the worker. It does not notice the worker at all. That indifference is its greatest strength and its most dangerous feature. Because a city that runs on uninterrupted motion eventually needs to move more than goods. It needs to move people faster, farther, in greater numbers. And so, Birmingham builds the final component of its transformation. Not inside the factory, but beyond it. In the next section, we follow the rails that carry this machine outward, and watch the city lock itself into a national system it can no longer escape. By the time the rails reached Birmingham, the city was already running too fast to stop. The railway did not introduce motion, it disciplined it. Steel tracks carved certainty into the landscape. Schedules replaced improvisation. Distances collapsed. What once took days now took hours. Birmingham no longer negotiated with geography. It overruled it. Raw materials arrived on command. Finished goods departed without delay. The city synchronized itself, not just internally, but nationally. This was the final transformation. Before the railway, Birmingham was a powerful engine. After the railway, it became a node. Production no longer ended at the workshop door. It extended outward, locking the city into supply chains that stretched across Britain and beyond. Coal flowed in, goods flowed out. People followed the same paths, compressed into timetables and compartments. Movement became predictable. Predictability became power. This is the third illusion. From the outside, the railway looks like freedom, travel, opportunity, connection. From inside the system, it feels like obligation. Trains do not wait, markets do not pause. Demand arrives on schedule whether the city is ready or not. Birmingham does not choose its pace anymore, it inherits it. And once a city's survival depends on constant circulation, stillness becomes dangerous. The railway hardens what steam began. It eliminates slack. There is no room for delay, no tolerance for inefficiency. Neighborhoods reorganize around access. Industries cluster along lines of transit. Those closest to the rails gain speed and advantage. Those further away fall behind. Inequality becomes geographic. Opportunity becomes directional. This is how a city learns to prioritize flow over people. Not through cruelty, but through structure. Birmingham does not collapse under this pressure. It adapts. That is its genius. and its burden. The city absorbs strain the way its machines absorb heat, venting excess outward, pushing consequences to the margins. Poverty concentrates, housing tightens. Labor becomes mobile, then disposable. The system keeps moving. Always moving. And this is the most uncomfortable truth Birmingham reveals. A city does not need to be malicious to be unforgiving. It only needs to be efficient. Once systems reward speed, volume, and continuity, human limits become inconveniences. The machine does not fail, people do. By the end of the 19th century, Birmingham stands as proof that a city can succeed beyond imagination and still extract an invisible cost. It can power an empire while hollowing its streets. It can perfect motion while erasing rest. Birmingham did not lose control of its future, it optimized it. And optimization, once complete, does not ask whether it should continue. It only asks how much more it can carry. That is the legacy Birmingham leaves behind. Not smoke, not steel, but a warning written into rails, gears, and streets. About what happens when a city becomes too good at moving forward to remember why it started.